Do you see Mr. Bean there on the right? Mr. Bean. What's he doing? Is he driving that car? Is he driving that car? No, he's not. He's observing. He is not the participant. And the Lord just showed me this. It's like, I think I alluded to this yesterday. I don't know, because we teach a lot of different places. But I worked one week at UPS, literally over 100 hours in 1 week. And I realized that, yeah, I was making money. I was supporting my family. But I was truly an observer in my own life. My kids would come down during Christmas, and they would bring me cookies just to see me. And the Lord just woke me up and said, you got to get in the game. You got to get into your own life, get on the field. I need to be a participant. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't serving. I wasn't growing. And man, I'll never forget the day I walked in and not only gave my notice, but it was a year later, and I was sitting in an event in Mesa, Arizona, and Blackaby was teaching. Henry Blackaby. Anybody ever get to hear him? Yes. And I'm like, oh, Lord, do you realize? I looked at my watch at the time. I would be in that office with all this stuff and people asking me all these things. I mean, I was responsible for a $300 million budget. I was the one that was held accountable for that. And it was, I mean, there was stress, okay? But it wasn't just the stress, but it was just literally, I mean, I was operating outside of what God called me to be, as being a participant in my own life. I was working for the bigger house. Do you understand that? Because that's all that happened, was we literally moved. And you probably even know this, right? I mean, you ask your niece, right? We moved 4 times on the same block. And the houses just got bigger. But, you know, it didn't make a difference. It wasn't adding anything but more ache and loss with my own family. We've got to be a participant, forgive me, in our own life. As for a man, his days are like grass. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes. When the world is passed, when the wind has passed over it, it is no more. And its place acknowledges it no longer. It really is. Time is but a whisper. And if you aren't listening, it will pass you by. You'll miss it. So what can I do? You can do it now. Mel Robbins, she is a great teacher as well. She wrote the 5-second rule. Simply put, it's been scientifically validated that if you don't take hold of that thought, that after 5 seconds, the odds are greater than 90% you'll never do anything with it. So 5 seconds goes by, you're walking down the hall, you get the thought, what do? Do you take that seed, that jar, and you place it on the counter? My point to you is, in fact, I don't have it up here, I even changed my phone type. I got the note because I don't want to lose it. I literally, you know, I tell people you should be journaling, right? You have a journal by your bed because the Lord will wake you up as he did Melissa at 2:30 in the morning this morning. But does he wake you up sometimes? Does he give you ideas? And you're just laying there and like, oh, I don't want to get up. And man, get up, write it down. Write it down. Do it now. You want to make a transformation in your life? You want to make this the best year of your life? When you get the idea, get confirmation, right, with the Lord. He gives us a sound mind, does he not? Let's just pray and let's just say, Lord, is this of you? Write it down. If you're in an activity, I mean, I get ideas in me. I get ideas in worship. I don't know about you guys, man. The Lord's just like breaking stuff. Man, I've written chapters out there listening to Pastor Greg. I'm not kidding. Next thing you know, I'm teaching in business classes what the Lord is bringing through Pastor Greg in here. It's the simple truth. And so you want to change your life right now? This is a simple model. It just sounds so simple. Take this challenge. If the Lord puts something in your heart and in your mind and you're convicted of that, if you're in a meeting just like this, write it down then. But get it somewhere so it's on your calendar. I mean, and because I have those things remind me, right? They just pop up. I love Google Calendar and our little smartphones because, oh, my gosh, I would have forgot that. Because more than 5 seconds went by, didn't they? Jeez, I forgot where my keys are and I just set them down, right? Write it down or do it right then if it's possible. Begin to get that stuff on a calendar, on a planner in some way, and then grow daily, pursue that. I mean, truly, if you take small steps, as Missy was speaking to, those small steps add up to something big at the end of the year. What happens at 2 years? Do you realize in 2 years, you could have a degree from this university? 2 years. What would that look like for you? My gosh, what the cost is here and what you have as far as the value. This is a chance to grow daily. Truly, over the next 24 months, there could be a transformation in your life. Take the 5-second rule, apply it. You don't have to call it the 5-second rule. Just know that it's like, okay, the thought came in, do it now. Do it now. Who's going to do it? Raise your hand. Come on. Who's going to do it? Stand up if you're going to do it. Come on. Make the commitment. Truly. Because I want you to report back to each other. Report back to each other. You want to see a different person? You'll see a different person by next year. I promise you. You will be a different person. Applaud for you guys, because it's truly significant. It was the greatest thing. When I sat there, I go, man, I kind of do that. I used to do that. I'm going to go get me a new phone. I'm going to start writing everything down. I mean, and whatever works for you. Before that, literally, I actually didn't start with a phone. I just got a notebook. And I used that same notebook instead of having 10 different ones. You ever write notes and they're all over the place? I got one notebook. And most of the time, that notebook would last 6, 7, 8 months. I got the big notebook. You get them at Walmart. They're $4.99 or whatever they are. And everything was in there. So I knew, where's my blue notebook? You know, sometimes you panic, right? But it was in that place. Whether I was in a ministry meeting, I was in a business meeting, I was in some type of church service, everything was right there. Every idea, every thought was right there. And I could go back to that. And guess what? Some of that stuff worked in here. And it worked there as well. Write it down. Get it into action. And pursue that which God has called you to do. Truly,